Hello and welcome. In this video I will be making a little chalk holder that will fit under my blackboard, magnetic blackboard. It is Jurek from Whitetail Creative Design. I'm using for this little project an offcut of the English plane. This piece has plenty of character. Grain pattern is looking really amazing. Each side of the timber has just slightly different pattern, and because of this it just looks really cool. So I have started with my 6¼ inch planer. Now it's time to trim the piece initially on my 1986 bandsaw. Equally, I could have just cut it by hand, but I just thought for fun I will use this bandsaw, which is really satisfying, really nice, clean cut. And now it's time to go back to the planer to square off the other face. And I still enjoy using this one. It is, let's say, my new addition to the workshop. I know it's again around 1960, but it does the job and it's quite nice to use. I enjoy using this one. I'm using those grabber holders, which are hopefully saving my fingers in case of an emergency. Now I'm using my Startrite table saw to trim another face. Probably I could have done this in one, maybe two passes, but I thought there is no rush, I'll just take it steady, and I did it in 5 goes. And as a result, I had really nice clean cut, which was easy to work with, less sanding in the future. Okay. I need to think about how to create like an offloading table behind it to make life easier so that I don't have to reach over. Now, I still don't have any decent vise to clamp it, so I just made it up out of 2 beech chunks of timber and just clamped it with my clamps. I thought I would just create grooves with my hand router to have a dedicated space for the chalk to be placed in, and I'm using this Erbauer router with dedicated fans, and I have to say that it's okay, but it's not amazing. Maybe I took it a little bit too fast. Maybe I should have taken my time and just go a little bit slower with it. But as a result, that groove is not 100% as good as I would probably like it to be. Overall, it's okay, but I would like it to be maybe slightly better. Now I just changed the router bit for a flathead to take the midsection and just have this like a U-shape profile so that all the chalk will be nicely resting inside. And it's time to move to sanding section, and after close inspection of the groove, I just used a little bit of paper just to break the edges and just to take out any little imperfections. The timber is shaping quite nicely. I do like the profile. I think it will be fairly chunky piece of timber and it will just look nice on the wall. It's quite interesting that you can see all those cracks on this face of the timber. Of course, this will be a back face, so it will be the face that will be bolted to the wall, so no one will actually see it, and there is no risk that anyone will cut fingers on those cuts. Now I'm just using my miter saw just to trim it roughly, or actually to the desired length overall. You can see in the top left corner. I'm using my cross-cutting wood blade, and it's giving me a really nice detail, nice edge. So overall happy with the Evolution miter saw doing the job. After cutting this piece into the chunk that I would like to hang on the wall, it's time to move to Osmo. Osmo, again, if you would like to sponsor my channel in the future, please reach out. I'm happy to use your product. On that occasion, I'm using a product that is slightly more durable. It's not food safe, but it doesn't have to be. It will be just holding the chalk for the chalkboard, so I'm quite happy with this application. Overall, I have applied 3 layers of Osmo. After each one, I wipe off the excess, then I leave it to dry out, and then after a couple of hours, I'm just giving this a very gentle sand, and then I'm applying another coat. Now I'm just figuring out how to attach it to the wall, and I thought I'll just use those really cheap, really basic brackets, and I thought that it would be, let's say, a good application for this project. Rob, Richard, thank you for that set of tracer pencils. They are quite nice to use. I do like them. They are fairly chunky, so it's not for every application, but it's really good to use this on that project. To create a slot, I'm using my router, and I thought because it is not visible in the future, I'll just do it by hand. And maybe it's not the best finish, but it does the job. It's just a recess for the bracket. Probably you can notice that I made a tiny mistake and I didn't make that recess deep enough so that the plate thickness is hidden within the thickness of the slot. However, the overall protrusion from the bracket is still sticking out. So I had to give it a second go with a router and make that recess deeper. Those faithful, very fine hand pads are quite handy. They are quite nice to break the surface just to take off that little bit of excess of the oil if it's there, and then it's easier to apply another coat. Now I'm just using, again, those lovely pencils from Richard and Rob. Thank you again, guys. And I'm drilling holes so that the screw head will have a space to get in, and that way the whole piece can sit flush with the wall. Hopefully that's the plan, at least. I didn't actually take any screws at that stage to check if they will fit into the bracket, but I'm going to test it shortly. Final layer of Osmo, just to have a nice robust finish in case any wet hands will be touching the timber. I don't want to look at this in terms of the maintenance for another couple of years to come, so hopefully it will be good to go for another years. And funny enough, I did struggle a little bit to drive in those little screws, so I'm redoing the pilot hole, and hopefully this time the screw will get in. On the first go I didn't manage to screw it in, so I had to repeat the exercise. So that is the end of the fun part when it comes just to timber, which I do enjoy a lot. And now it's time to move into the house and start drilling some holes. And that's the bit that I always hate. No matter how many times I try to mark it, make it perfect, and then by the time I start to actually drill the wall, the hole just is all over the shop, and it's never as flat, as horizontal, as perfect as I would like it to be. So that is the frustrating part. And with two holes, I just want to ensure that it will be nice and parallel to the bottom of the frame of the blackboard. I have carefully marked up the hole position, and hopefully it will be a success, but we'll find out in a minute. So the final check is the correct height, and I thought, yeah, it looks pretty okay. So it's time to grab my cordless drill and give it a go. And the first hole, luckily, went into the plaster and some breeze block, so it went quite easily. No headache, no issues with this one. Just to double check if the hole depth is sufficient for the plug. Yes, it is. So now it's time to move to the second hole and repeat the exercise. Again, I was quite amazed that I managed to drill 2 holes pretty bang on, and overall result was quite good. So it doesn't normally goes that easy. So I was really happy that there was no headache on that occasion. Time to hammer it in. Both plugs went in nicely, hence happy days. Now it's time to drive a couple of screws. Hopefully they will be nice and level and no headaches with overall alignment. Luckily all went pretty good and I'm happy. So now it is time to attach the holder and see if it will actually work together. Test it. Yep, it can take my weight, so it can take the tiny weight of the choke. Happy days with this one. Thank you everyone for watching. If I could ask you to subscribe, which I normally don't do, that would be amazing. I would like to hit in 2023 100 subscribers. That would be really amazing. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.